Hi, Chad. Thank you for joining me. I just wanted to check back in with you. We had a discussion a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago, I guess now, after our symposium. And during that time, we talked a little bit about the upcoming FAA reauthorization. And since then, we have seen that the House and Senate have both released a draft bill. So I wanted to get your thoughts on what we're expecting now that we've seen a draft bill. Do we think that the reauthorization is going to happen this year? What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, good morning. We actually are just off of our board retreat for ACC, so lots of good conversation about this very topic there. I will say that the industry groups, probably ACC included, thought that we may have a series of continuing resolutions on this because there just wasn't a lot of cohesion really on anything in Washington. Having said that, there seems to be quite a bit of progress here, and we're optimistic now that perhaps by the end of the year, maybe slightly sooner, we could see a bill. But yeah, so that's kind of where things stand right now. And that optimism I think is we're seeing that throughout the industry right now.
Yeah, that's what it's sounding like. Well, getting into the bills a little bit, have you seen if any type of agreement at a high level on what is in each of the House and the Senate bills?
I would say that more so than perhaps we've seen in the past. There's not a ton of change. I'm an old timer now in the advocacy world of ACC, and I must say that you are one of the leaders there as the YP liaison. So although you interviewed me last time, how about we flip it and I interview you on this topic because I know that it's pretty much up to your eyeballs in all of that advocacy stuff with ACC now.
Yeah,
So
very
so
true.
from your perspective, what do you think? What is their agreement on or not agreement on in those bills, Amanda?
As we expected, both of the bills have an emphasis on safety. I think we are seeing a good amount of agreement. They're both bipartisan, and at a high level, both of them are around the same dollar amount proposal. I think House is around 104 billion, Senate's at 107 billion. Both House and Senate have proposed an increase to the AIP to 4 billion per year. Previously, we were at 3.35, and that was something that we within the advocacy committee had been asking for. So we were excited to see that. And talking about workforce development, we've seen the proposal of workforce development grants in each, as well as the reestablishment of the Women in Aviation Advisory Committee.
Yeah, good stuff. It was nice to see an increase. I think that just fundamentally we have been at that less than 4 billion for such a long time. But obviously we know about cost escalation, so remains to be seen how much buying power you have there. And certainly there's some expanded programs. With that said, what do you think from your perspective? What should we be excited about in these bills?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on both those points. So the AIP increase, of course, like I talked about, the House had a lot of good stuff that we are excited about. One of the items is they're expanding eligibility of PFC, and that includes airport-related projects. So we like that. They've also added language for alternative project delivery, which makes it a little bit easier to qualify for AIP. They removed some of the restrictions on terminal development through AIP, such as it removes some of the language regarding non-revenue producing. So that makes some of terminal development projects a little bit easier to qualify for AIP. And House has included some price adjustment provisions. The Senate included AIP eligibility for existing crosswind runways, which we thought was interesting. And the House also, lastly, included an FAA letter of intent program. So that program would require the FAA to issue AIP letters of intent to small airports. It's up to $100 million per year in small airports, beginning in 2028, I believe.
Yeah, those last 2 points you made are definitely interesting with the crosswind runways and then the letter of intent. Two things that we've looked at a lot, frankly, over the last few years. Both of those issues. So that's all good stuff. Anything we should be concerned about in there, Amanda?
There are a few things. I think the big one that we've heard, especially we had a meeting of the FAA Reauthorization Task Force with our ACC Advocacy Committee, and one of the items we talked about a bit was the House's proposal to limit parking fees to GA aircraft, for GA aircraft. That, for some airports, can be a large revenue source, so that's a little bit concerning. And I think the other thing that you and I have talked a fair bit about is grant timeliness, um, especially in cold weather states. And the House did propose the letter of intent, but we didn't see anything in either bill regarding timeliness of grants, requirements to have grants to airports, especially cold weather states at certain dates.
Yeah. Yeah, something we've got some more work to do on that, certainly, and explaining and making legislators understand how important it is to get those grants early so that they can start construction. So is there anything that's kind of on the bubble, not good, not bad, but something we should be looking at?
I think all of the organizations proposed for an increase to PFCs, but we kind of knew that wasn't going to happen. So I'm considering that on the bubble. We also saw GA apportionment increase to 25% from the previously 20%. And I think that can have positive and negative impacts depending on who you are, where you are. I think that's a little bit on the bubble. And then anything else, just we've released our letter of priorities. So anything else that we haven't seen so far in the draft bills, we would consider that probably on the bubble as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, what can we do? Is there any follow-up we need to do with our congressional delegation to help push this along or advocate for a certain position, et cetera?
Definitely. One of the major things that people can do in the industry is stay involved with your committees. If you are involved with the ACC Advocacy Committee, we're always looking for input from our members, but also just writing letters, calling your representatives, not only for the parts of the bill that you don't support, but for the parts of the bill that you do support. Even stressing what is really important to us and what we really like is important at this point.
So I'll just add to that. You can imagine getting a call only when somebody needs something. So I would encourage everybody to have a constant dialogue with your elected officials. Stay engaged with them when you need something, and even when you don't need something. And when they do something that helps you and your cause, pick up the phone and say, "Hey, thank you." I can tell you from experience that that's definitely important. But well, thanks, Amanda. I don't know anything else to add, or we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, here's hoping. Thank you.
Yeah.